Tell you what, John, as I mentioned before, we had, as soon as we announced that you were going to be on the show, we were just inundated with questions for you.
Okay.
So if you want, we'll get into those and
right, sure.
see where this takes us.
Why not?
All right. Well, tell you what, first up is going to be a question from Kitty in Florida. And Kitty is slick. She does a two-part question. So she figured out a way to actually get to ask you two questions, but make it sound like one.
All right.
So part one is, what's your favorite cover of one of your songs or other, multiple songs, and why?
Favorite cover? Well, first of all, Daryl and I have only done 3 covers in our entire life. Okay. We did, let's see, we did whatchamacallit, I'm losing it. Righteous Brothers, You Lost That Lovin Feeling.
Yeah, now, to interrupt you, I heard there was an interesting story that song wasn't even supposed to be on the album. Is that correct?
That's right. It was the Voices album that we were talking about earlier. We, in those days, what we would do is we'd have a listening party when the record was finished, and we'd invite the record company or managers, friends, whoever, radio people, to come to the studio and actually hear the record for the first time. We did that, and we got a great response. We felt, it was really good. And right afterwards, Daryl and I and the band, we went out for a slice of pizza literally down the block in Greenwich Village from Electric Lady Studios, where we were. And we were sitting in there eating a pizza, and we felt like, man, maybe there's something missing. Like, does it need one more song? We were kind of just talking. And on the jukebox, You Lost That Lovin Feeling by the Righteous Brothers began to play. And we looked at each other and went, wow, let's just do that. And we literally called the band in the next day, went in the studio, we cut the track, sang it, and by 5:00 that afternoon, we were done. And we put that on the album, and it became a pretty big hit for us.
Yeah. So
I'd probably say that's probably my favorite one that we've ever done. We did do a song by Mike Oldfield, Family Man, which was on a Mike Oldfield album. And that was here again, a kind of a last minute decision. One of the technicians, roadies in our band, came to the studio one day with the new Mike Oldfield album and said, man, you should hear this song. You guys could do a great version of this song. And he played Family Man. And we said, wow, that's cool. Let's do that. I mean, so that's, and the other one was an obscure reggae song that I brought back from Jamaica in 1975 called Soldering, which, hardly anybody knows about, but I heard it when out on the beach in Jamaica, and I loved it. And I literally bought the 45 while I was in Jamaica and brought it back, and we did a version of that.
How about covers of your songs that other bands or artists have done? Which one of those do you?
Well, man, I Can't Go For That has been sampled so many times that I can't even begin to, there's been so many versions. The very first version actually, it was the first time I ever heard a sampled song, was the group De La Soul from New York did a version, and they used I Can't Go For That. They called it Say No Go. And that was the first time I ever heard that anyone using the idea of sampling, taking someone else's song and recrafting it into something else. Interestingly enough, considering how many hits we've had, we haven't really had a lot of covers of the songs. Lou Rawls and a group called Tavares did She's Gone. Tavares had a #1 R&B hit with their version of She's Gone, and I always liked that. So I don't know,
Now, is there a song of yours where you wish somebody, you heard it, you go, man, that'd be a perfect song for so-and-so to do?
Well, sure. I mean, I wish Marvin Gaye sang all of our songs.
No, doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell you what, let's move on to our next question here. Mike in Texas wants to know, what was it like to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, it was a long night, I can tell you that. What you see on the TV show has nothing to do with what actually happened that night. I'll just leave it there. But anyway, listen, it's an amazing thing to happen to you in your career. It's really kind of puts a stamp on your career, says, you've accomplished something, above and beyond the ordinary. And so it's an amazing thing. A few years before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Daryl and I got inducted in the American Songwriters Hall of Fame. And to be, mentioned among the great songwriters in America, going all the way back to like Cole Porter and George Gershwin and, the Brill Building, amazing writers from the Brill Building, Lieber and Stoller, on and on. That is an honor that I think is very important, because when I think about it, if we hadn't written the songs that we wrote, we wouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, I kind of go back to that American Songwriter Hall of Fame induction and say that was pretty important too.
Well, and interestingly, you answered just there one of the questions that Rosa had sent in. So not only did you answer Mike, Rosa too.
I'm telepathic. I read your mind, Rosa.
It's the Psychic Music Network.
Yeah.